The concept of a New World Order has been a topic of discussion for many years, with some believing it to be a conspiracy theory and others seeing it as a reality. One of the latest tools being used to allegedly push this agenda forward is the propaganda surrounding climate change. The idea is that a group of powerful individuals and organizations, often referred to as the Satanic New World Order, are using the threat of climate change to manipulate and control the population. On the surface, the concern about climate change appears to be a legitimate and necessary issue. The science is clear: human activities are releasing large amounts of greenhouse gases, such as carbon dioxide and methane, into the atmosphere, leading to rising temperatures and severe weather events. However, some argue that this issue is being exaggerated and distorted to serve the interests of the elite. They claim that the Satanic New World Order is using climate change as a Trojan horse to impose their agenda on the world, which includes population control, surveillance, and the erosion of individual freedoms. One of the ways this is being achieved is through the creation of a culture of fear. The constant bombardment of doom and gloom scenarios and apocalyptic predictions is designed to keep people in a state of anxiety and uncertainty, making them more susceptible to manipulation. This fear is then used to justify the implementation of drastic measures such as carbon taxes, green energy policies, and sustainable development initiatives, which often benefit the elite at the expense of the common people. Another tactic being employed is the use of propaganda and misinformation. The mainstream media, which is largely controlled by the elite, presents a biased and one-sided view of the climate change issue, ignoring or downplaying any dissenting voices or alternative perspectives. This creates a false narrative that climate change is an existential threat that can only be addressed through the implementation of radical policies and the surrender of individual freedoms. The aim is to create a sense of consensus and urgency, which can then be used to push through legislation and policies that serve the interests of the Satanic New World Order. The role of international organizations, such as the United Nations, is also crucial in this process. The UN Agenda 21 and Sustainable Development Goals (SDG) are often cited as examples of the New World Order's agenda. These initiatives aim to promote sustainable development and reduce poverty, but critics argue that they are actually designed to impose a form of global governance and control. The SDGs, for instance, call for the implementation of policies that promote sustainable consumption and production patterns, which can be interpreted as a euphemism for the restriction of individual freedoms and the imposition of a draconian form of environmentalism. Furthermore, a push for climate change mitigation and adaptation is being used to justify the establishment of a surveillance state. The use of smart technologies, such as smart meters and smart grids, is being promoted as a way to reduce energy consumption and carbon emissions, but it also provides a means for the elite to monitor and control people's behavior. The collection of data on individuals' energy usage, transportation habits, and other activities can be used to create a profile of their carbon footprint, which can then be used to impose penalties or rewards. In conclusion, while climate change is a real issue that needs to be addressed, propaganda surrounding it is being used by the Satanic New World Order to manipulate and control the population. The creation of a culture of fear, the use of propaganda and misinformation, and the establishment of a surveillance state are all tactics being employed to impose a draconian form of environmentalism and restrict individual freedoms. It is essential to be aware of these tactics and to critically evaluate the information being presented, rather than blindly accepting the narrative that is being promoted by the mainstream media and international organizations. By doing so, we can resist the attempts of the Satanic New World Order to oppress us and instead work towards creating a more just and equitable society.